I'm married to a long-haul truck driver, a mother of two, and I'm retired from the United States Air Force after 20 years of service where I use PowerPoint daily to brief generals on current events. Upon retiring, I completed my bachelor's degree in English with a focus on writing and am currently earning my master's degree in herbal medicine. Upon graduation, I plan to continue my blog as I write books such as this, which focus on one or two herbs to ensure each herb gets the dedication it needs for readers to understand the full value of each. Details about Rosemary is a book that discusses all important information on Rosmarinus officinalis. All pictures in this briefing are from my own 8-year-old plant. These are the things I will be talking about. In my military training, we don't read the slides, just use them as prompts as the audience will read them. For anyone who has ever researched an herb and went on a book buying spree to find that one little nugget, it's easy to relate to the time and money it takes to research an herb. My book is a culmination of that research. It gives the reader the information that's available and helps the reader narrow down the books that have the herb they're wanting to learn about. It compiles all the scientific studies readily available so the reader will know what scientific evidence there is of the claims being made on the effectiveness of an herbal treatment. This helps clear up contradictions between sources. I also share my own personal experience in growing the herb as well as using it medicinally. Heinemann describes rosemary as ash-colored branches, scaly bark, and bare opposite. The leaves are thick, especially in the center along the vein. The bottom of the leaf tends to be a lighter green than the dark green on top. This herb comes from the Lamiaceae family, as do many of the dual-use herbs, meaning they are medicinal and culinary. The height can vary based on species, with my own Tuscan Blue growing to 6 feet. Others can grow to 6.5 feet. Authors tend to use either the highest number or a general average. The part of this herb used is the leaf and the flower. Some authors add oil here, but the oil is derived from the leaf and the flower. Most people are familiar with the strong taste and flavor of rosemary, as it is a common cooking herb. The older rosemary plant or bush gets, the more woody it is. Since my plant is 8 years old, the base of each branch is too woody to move to get a good picture of what the connection point looks like where the branches meet the main stem. This picture on the left is the best image I have at this time. The middle image is a magnification of the leaves. The center vein is easy to see and feel in normal vision, but the smaller veins are invisible without this magnification. The image on the right is the one successful attempt I had where I was able to grow a root from a cutting of rosemary by putting it in water. What surprised me in this rooting was the root came from the base of a leaf rather than the bottom of the stem. Rosemary grows successfully in zones 8 through 11. The map shown here in the background is from Hartung, but a quick search will yield an interactive USDA map. Rosemary grows best in loose, warm, light, and well-drained soil. This plant needs full sun and shelter from the cold. In areas outside the zones listed, it's best to keep it in a pot and bring it in during colder months, placing it in the window with the most sun. The general consensus is that it grows to 6 feet in height, but Bound breaks it down by species and gives more exact data. Marson, as well as others, say to propagate using a cutting in either water or directly in the soil. I did both and killed both of my little plants, so it's clear I have more to learn on propagation of rosemary. I didn't put harvesting on the slide even though it falls in this category because at this time I still don't know exactly when is the best time to harvest this herb. This isn't to say I don't have a lot of sources, but they all vary in their suggestions from all year long, which comes from Hartung, to only in the summer following flowering, which comes from Chevalier, and then Marson says only in the morning after the dew has evaporated and the day is not yet hot. Okay, my personal rosemary plant flowers in the spring and fall, so does that mean I harvest mine in spring and fall? There are a lot of suggestions, but no consensus on the topic of harvesting. Many authors mention how to use this herb in culinary dishes, and any cookbook can give examples. What is not so well known is what nutrients this herb provides. While different authors mention different things, what seems to be most common among them is calcium and iron. Of course, this is all dependent on the soil the plant is grown in, so this list is prone to variance. Of course, there are many sources on this health use section, but in the interest of keeping my reference list shorter, I'll try to stick to just a few. Rosemary is most known for carnosic acid, carnosol, rosmarinic acid, and cineol. There are about 31 constituents in this herb depending on the source, but these are the most common referenced. The most common actions appear to be nervine, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant. In my book entry, I have a very long list of uses depending on the source, but the most common are headache, memory, and digestion. The most common ways to use this herb are as a tincture, infusion, or as an essential oil. The tincture is used in water, and the infusion is drank or used externally. For example, it is used to create shampoo for dandruff. While this herb is safe to use as a tincture or infusion, adjusting the dose appropriately, Tissandiran and Young say not to use the essential oil on the face of children. The Complete Guide to Digestive Health says excessive use of the oil can be toxic and damage the kidneys. Clark says not to use the herb internally as a medicine in children with epilepsy, diverticulosis, chronic ulcers, colitis, or high blood pressure. She says not to use the essential oil in children with epilepsy. Gardner and McCuffin have 3 pages of safety data and summations on the scientific studies and think the idea that the herb is an abortifacient comes from the oil, as there is no evidence the herb itself is a cause, but there is evidence of toxicity with the oil. While my degree is in herbal medicine, not aromatherapy, I include this data on the oils to show high concentrations of this herb can be dangerous. It is very important to use this herb according to the recommendations of the professionals and abide by proper safety protocols. I'm not going to read the names of the researchers, but these are the more interesting studies I've read to date for rosemary. Below is the conclusion of the studies that I reference. Rosemary extract is an insecticide with a cumulative effect with each generation. They believe the active constituent for this activity is 1,8-cineol. Carnosic acid is great for improving learning, while it and rosmarinic acid are effective at increasing memory. This study was done using extract. Rosemary essential oil killed several strains of E. coli. Rosemary extract was 77% effective against listeria. The drug they used as a control was 75% effective, and this is a drug currently in use as treatment. Rosemary was the most effective of the 15 herbs they tested. The most interesting study to me, rosemary ingestion significantly reduced the uptake of fat and had a cascading effect where cells were more healthy and reduced the chances of developing cancer and diabetes. It also reduced blood glucose levels as well as cholesterol and weight gain on a high-fat diet. In conclusion, while difficult to start, rosemary is easy to grow as long as you protect it from excess water and cold. While best known for its culinary influence, it has great health benefits. My reference slides do follow this one. However, you're not supposed to actually read your reference slides, just provide them for your audience to read. So go ahead and keep flipping through and read those slides, and let me know if there are any questions. Thank you.